Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you follow the channel for any length of time, you know I like to run the Next Wave Shark 520 HT CNC. And lately I've been having some problems with slack in my gantry in the Y direction. The Y axis has been slipping on me. It's been causing problems with some of my carves. I searched high and low all over the internet to try to find an easy, simple solution for this, and there's literally no information out there at all. So I took a little time and I did a little tinkering, and I found a really simple way to fix this problem, and it just takes just a few minutes. A couple quick things to remember before you get started is always make sure you kill all the power to your CNC machine, and you're going to have to remove one side cover in order to access the project. So give me just a second, I'm going to kill the power and I'll show you how to do it. Alright guys, before we get into it, one thing to keep in mind is make sure that you don't have your Y-axis all the way in the near position. You're going to need a little bit of play in your gantry in order to slide the motor out of position. It's a pretty simple process. All you need is a Phillips head screwdriver, and what you're going to do, you're going to come in here and there's 4 screws that hold on your Y-axis stepper motor. But first you're gonna lift this little tab and unplug your power, being very careful you don't damage this tiny wire right here. But once you get that wire out of your way, you just remove the 4 screws that hold the Y stepper motor out. I already loosened 2 on the other side just to help speed the video up. So once you get your 4 screws removed, should be just about there, you can actually just pull the motor out to gain access to your set screw. I'm going to remove these screws so I don't lose them. And I'm going to back up just a second so I can show you what's going on. Alright, so looking over here, you can see your Y-axis motor coupler. And you can see that I've replaced the original set screw with a cap screw, and the reason for that is Shark, in their infinite wisdom, used this tiny set screw, which required a very small Allen wrench in order to tighten it up. The problem I saw with that is when you try to tighten it, this tiny Allen wrench would bend really bad, and I was in fear of stripping this screw out. So I just went to my local hardware store and I purchased a couple of 3/4 inch 1032 thread pattern cap screws that you were able to use a much bigger Allen wrench, and in doing so you can get a lot more torque on them, and you can really get them tight. So I've already replaced mine on there and I've got it torqued down. I just want to show you guys, that's all you have to do is make sure that the screws in there good, and you just tighten it down really good. You can also add a little bit of Loctite. I recommend the blue, not the red. The blue is not permanent, the red is permanent as far as Loctite, and it won't ever go anywhere. So once you have that tightened down, just wiggle the coupler to make sure there's no slack, and there's none whatsoever. Once you have that done, you can just slide your motor back in place, and you'll notice here that the gantry will move with that motor. See, that's why you want to make sure you have some room to slide your gantry back and forth. So once you get it in there, you just slide it back in place. It won't go into position because what has happened is the threaded rod will slip out of the bearing block. But if you come around, I'll show you where it goes. So that's why we needed to remove the side cover, so you can have access to where this little thread rod is. So you have to reach inside and just put it back in this bearing block here. Just, it should go in fairly easily. Just get it started like so, and you'll be able to get your screws back in there. Okay, so we'll go back around and we'll put our 4 screws back in place. I recommend getting all 4 screws started before you torque them down. That way you don't have any problems getting them started. Sorry if the video quality is kind of poor. I'm in a really tight spot. But I felt like this was important because there really is no information out there about how to adjust this, and it's really simple, guys. Matter of fact, the only advice I'm in several Shark forums for the Next Wave CNCs, and the only information I was able to obtain from anybody, they recommended reaching through the side cover with a very long Allen wrench, and it's a 332 Allen wrench, and you're only going to get so much torque on that without it bending something, especially that long. So this is definitely a better way to go, and it just takes just a few minutes. Once you have your 4 screws tightened back up, you don't have to get overdo it. Just you know, fairly snug. And the last step would be to go ahead and plug in your Y-axis motor wire. Be careful you get it lined up correctly. They are pretty delicate. I'm actually going to step out so I can see a little bit better. All right. Once you feel it click in place, you're good to go. The only other thing to remember is go ahead and re-secure your side panel with the 4 screws or 6 screws, whichever you use. The panel that you remove for doing maintenance on the machine, and you're good to go. Like I said, ever since I made that conversion to the cap screw, I haven't had any trouble since. It was like a 79 cents at my local hardware store. So I do highly recommend upgrading to one of these if you can do it, and you won't have any more trouble. Hey guys, thanks for following the channel. I hope this helped some of y'all out. It helped me a lot. I was really nervous about this fix because I couldn't find any information out there at all. So follow along. I appreciate if y'all would like and subscribe if this helped you out at all. Thank you.